The mystery machine rattles down a country road. Our heroes are in the middle of farm country, where anything could happen. What happens to them? We'll find out together. Welcome to Mysteries in the Machine.
Hey yo, meddling kids! I'm Charlie,
And I'm Ethan.
and how are you feeling, Ethan? We're in like farm country. You're from Kansas.
I am.
How's it feel to be back home?
Oh my god. We definitely could be in Kansas. My grandma and
Did you
grandpa live
say
in a
where they
small
are?
town. No. Um, but I would say it's definitely farm country. I'd say somewhere maybe like southern Illinois or eastern Missouri, just a guess. Um, I have family who lives in St. Louis, and my grandma and grandpa live in a small town about 25 minutes south of me. So a lot of like driving down to their house looked similar to what the gang's doing.
There we go. You're back home,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
No sketchy gas station attendants, though. At least not that I know of.
Isn't that like one of those things that like all or actors or something getting discovered at a gas station or what have you? I feel like
I
that's one
have
of
no
those
idea
urban
what you're talking
legends.
about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, but like people being discovered at a gas station, like
Sure.
it's an urban legend that I have heard, and this is where we meet Jonathan Winters. Hey,
Indeed.
he's a dude. That's a person. That's not
That's a
a
man, yeah.
fictional character. Although
No,
there are
that is
fictional
a.
characters in the episode.
Yes, but that's a man.
That is a man in cartoon
That is a
form.
real, honest to goodness man.
Yeah. Uh we gotta go over our Jonathan Winters history.
I gotta be honest, I had no idea who this man was.
Okay. I think there's maybe like one thing that I know him in besides like I mean, he was in like what the live action Smurfs movie. I think I saw that one once.
Excuse me?
He
Hold
played Papa
on.
Smurf.
That makes sense. Okay, they did a pretty good job capturing his likeness, I'll say. He died 11 years ago, as of recording.
Yeah, the second live action Smurfs was released right after he died.
Fucking wild.
Um,
I mean, good for
yeah. So like,
him.
yeah. Besides this episode of Scooby Doo, what I remember him in is I think it was like the sequel of oh god, memory, memory, come back to me. There we go, Frost the Snowman. Uh, he's in Frosty Returns.
Oh, I have seen that. Um,
Yeah, Frost Returns is the like, it's the one that's you know, animated by it's still by Rankin Bass, right? Yeah, it is Rankin Bass, and he's like the narrator, I guess, who's just on a snowflake for a bunch of the movie for some reason.
okay. Yeah, I don't really know much about that particular special, I guess you could say.
I remember watching it. That's all that matters.
I've seen the original Frosty the Snowman a lot, but not so much the sequel.
I've seen quite a few of the Rankin Bass movies, which is why I am wary about stop motion as an adult.
Sure.
They sure had some really janky stop motion.
It was the '60s. I mean, it's not going to be as good as what we have, but like, do you like the Nightmare Before Christmas or Coraline or Kubo and the Two Strings?
Okay, Coraline is scary regardless of what format it is in. So
I
no.
mean, you're right. You're right.
Nightmare Before Christmas I still haven't finished all the way through. Um I've seen bits of it.
Okay.
I did see Kubo because some friends wanted
Okay.
to watch it. A lot of the time stop motion is just like it's almost uncanny valley to me where
Okay.
I'm like, "Oh, that's not CGI. Oh, that's like looking slightly off and
Yeah,
wrong in a way." So that's what kind of gets me.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh that's all I remember him from that I think I have seen of his. He's got a
Okay.
long rap sheet though. Like a
He
lot of
Yeah, because I've seen at least the first live action Smurfs movie, so I guess I've seen him in other stuff besides this. Apparently, he was on Johnny Bravo for an episode back in the day.
Oh my goodness, he was in that movie?
Which one?
Wow. Have you ever heard of The Thief and the Cobbler?
Yes,
Yeah, apparently he was in it.
he was the titular thief. It looks like.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I've heard that it's
Yeah, I haven't seen it
a
either.
very
But
good
it's like
movie.
it has a very complex history.
Hold on.
Like,
This cast is fucking stacked. Like Vincent Price,
right?
Matthew Broderick, Donald Pleasance. At least I know that name from somewhere. I can't think of anybody else who would do that.
Yeah. This movie is its own whole can of worms,
Sure.
but that needs to go in like animation history, honestly, for
Yeah,
how
I've
many people fucked over that movie.
I've I've heard things about it. I've never seen it. I just know that there's a lot of history to it.
Yeah, I have not seen it, but I guess Jonathan Winters is in one of the versions of it.
It looks like there's two different versions of it,
There's
which there's three.
at least according to the cast list.
Okay, because I only see two: the Miramax and
There's the
Majestic
original.
Films version. Oh, then
Yeah,
neither of those was the original. Okay,
yeah. Like I said, this was in like production hell, basically.
it looks like it.
I've heard
Yeah.
so many stories. Okay, Jonathan Winter. Oh, that's very cool.
What?
I think this is discography, so I assume that means that he did an audiobook version of it or something, or maybe it was a movie. But The Little Prince,
Interesting.
very cool.
Yes.
But he was a stand-up comedian as well as an actor, all of those things. Which is very fun where he gets like paired with Shaggy several times in this episode, and I'm like, oh my god. I love that.
Yes.
I love that the voiceover guys are together.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Indeed. Oh, he was on Mark and Mindy. That's awesome.
Yeah, and when I was looking him up earlier, apparently he's like the inspiration for a lot of Robin Williams stuff. So
He did do a lot of like sound effects and like other things like that. So I can see why Robin would model his style of comedy after Jonathan Winters.
yeah. And in fact, the character in this episode that we go to meet is voiced by him because she was created by him as a character.
Yeah, I saw that on his IMDb. Like that's a bit that he does, I guess, in his stand-up.
Yeah, Grandma Frickert.
Mm-hmm. Again, didn't know anything about this man until today. So
Well, you're learning shit.
I
Let's
am.
go meet him and talk about the episode.
Yeah, so the gang rolls up to a gas station, and he comes out dressed as a gas station attendant, tries to play dumb, and then
It's so
what?
cute, though.
Yeah,
Like, I already say that this is our first shenanigan of him trying to, like, fake them out
yeah.
here.
But Velma calls him on his bullshit. She knows who he is.
He's like, oh, I'm still a new employee. I only started 6 months ago. And he doesn't know how to fill up the gas. But yeah, nah, he's just joking. He's going to
Yep.
visit Maud Frickert, his good old friend, and his
You could
cars.
say they know each other. You could say they know each other quite well.
You could, in fact. And we also get the backstory on her opening her new chicken stands. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, and so he's like, "Oh, why don't you guys come up to the farm with me? It'll be very fun. Don't you want to go and do that?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, as they're giving him a ride, Shaggy is not into it. Velma's like, "Oh yeah, it'd be great. Do all this manual labor." Shaggy's like, "No,
No.
I didn't bring my work permit."
Just perpetuating the lazy stoner stereotype. Not a big fan of that, but eh.
Listen, they have to get up at like sunrise and do work. I wouldn't want to do it either, man.
No, like farm work isn't easy. I didn't say that. It's just, perpetuating stereotypes isn't the best thing in the world.
Fair, fair. So they come up to the farm, and what's that? We see a scarecrow that moves on its own. Woo.
Ooh, spooky.
This would have been a better intro for
Yeah,
spookiness.
why didn't they put that at the beginning? Oh well.
This series is just like anti spooky intros for some reason.
I hate it.
I'm
It
sorry.
makes my job harder.
Everything else is great, but I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, Steven. Steven.
Steven!
I've been watching too much Steven Universe. I'm so sorry, Ethan.
Listen, Abby wants to watch Steven Universe. You have a podcast about Steven Universe. This is fine.
Yep, I'm doing this for her to make sure that she knows. She keeps
Mm-hmm.
calling me Steven, so
Love that. You do have Steven energy, though.
I am Steven. It's a problem.
You really are. It's okay, though. I still love you, bud.
Thanks. As if you wouldn't. How dare you?
That's true.
Okay, Scooby Doo. My dudes,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to the farm, and as we, like, stop the car, see the whole thing, there is a motorcycle and a farmhand, like, in a chase.
Sir, what do you think you're going to do chasing after a motorized vehicle on foot?
I mean, he's trying to
Just
get them
give
out of
up.
there.
Sure.
He just wants them to leave. So, this is the least of the dumb things that Vernon does in this episode, okay?
Vernon does. Are we counting those as shenanigans or no?
A few of them are, I think.
Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure
We'll
where
see
you
when we
wanted to
get
draw
there.
that line.
Oh, we'll figure it out. I'm not sure what this counts as, but we lose Shaggy and Scooby. And where is Shaggy hiding? In the well.
Mm-hmm.
Just in a well. Don't you ever get thirsty? Like, come on, man.
Okay, does this mean you need to put your whole body in a well? You can take a drink of water without jumping into a creek or the ocean.
Are you sure? Are you quite sure?
I mean, I have a water bottle right here. This is not the ocean. This is
Maybe?
not a lake.
I think Shaggy's just that really, really that thirsty. So,
I mean, considering the superhuman amount of food he consumes, it would not surprise me if he has a superhuman thirst as well, in all aspects.
yeah, exactly. Scooby is just hiding in the hay. He doesn't have an excuse. But they were hiding because of the commotion that was happening outside the farm. So our gang goes to go see Maud Frickert, and instead are stopped by the farmhands who ran those guys off the farm. And what are your initial thoughts on Vernon?
He's just like he's just badly written Kronk is what he is to me.
I see that. I mean, I think he's also stupider than Kronk.
I would agree with that.
I think Kronk can open a door.
Yeah, Kronk can open a door. Vernon can't even operate a doorknob without instructions. So
Vernon would have trouble pulling the lever.
true. Very true. I've also got Disney on the brain because Kelly and I went to the Disney exhibit in Kansas City yesterday that's leaving next month. It's the Disney 100th anniversary
Ooh,
exhibit. Yeah, I got a
love
mug.
that. I love it. Also, I require pictures of that later.
I
So
will send some to you. There's lots of cool stuff.
very good. Very cool. So Vernon does not want to let them on this farm because of reasons that we will find out. But
Mhm.
he's just like, no. Mm-mm. And Jonathan keeps trying to play this line of like, no, like, Maud and I are like old friends. Like, also, I'm super famous. Jonathan Winters, the famous comedian. Jonathan Winters, the not so famous comedian. Uh,
That got me. That got me.
I love him. I love this.
Jonathan or
Like this
Vernon?
Jonathan with like this whole episode, he's just like, I'm gonna make myself the weirdest fucking guy ever.
He does a great job of that. Are we going to count him impersonating Grandma Fricker and throwing his voice into the barn as a shenanigan? Because I think we should.
Oh, absolutely. That is a shenanigan.
Okay, putting it on the count.
Cause yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm famous. Also, like, I'm buddies with her. She'll tell you she's right over there. And then Vernon turns around and Jonathan throws his voice. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm milking the cow. That's my old buddy Jonathan. Don't worry, he can come in. It's fine. So we did it. We convinced the guy to let us in. He rolled a nat 20.
Congratulations, Jonathan. You nailed your deception check. Or it'd be performance because he's throwing his voice.
Whichever's higher, which is probably performance. But
They're both charisma, but he is a comedian, so I'll give him performance, having proficiency with that.
yeah, God, I want so badly to to play as like a bard or bard Shaggy, but I also want to run that as a game.
What would you rather do?
Hmm?
Would you rather run the game or play in the game?
I don't know. I have so many ideas, Ethan.
Okay, if you have the ideas, you should run the game.
That's true. That's true. I think I'm just gonna have to play as Vincent Van Gogh. I think that's
Hell
gonna
yeah.
have to be it.
Just adapt 13 Ghosts into a campaign for everybody.
Well, I just feel like he's like the guy in the chair in that show. So I feel like
Yeah.
that makes the most sense for like, you know,
Mhm.
someone who's like the NPC giving you missions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
They go in the
house.
Yeah. Grandma Friggert's sitting in the living room knitting. And she
says, like,
repeats
the exact same lines.
she repeats it word for word.
Heavens to Betsy, it's my old buddy Jonathan and his friend. Vernon, you big oaf, why didn't you call me?
Oh,
yes, I can say that from memory.
You recited that from memory?
Yes.
You nailed it. You fucking nailed it.
Listen. This show is one of my comfort shows.
Okay,
I don't think you understand.
No, I don't. I'm experiencing the show for the first time. I don't understand.
No, you'll never understand. But we get more about Maud and her chicken stands. And also, there's a secret formula? Oh?
Did SpongeBob steal the plotline of stealing a formula from this show?
I mean, who's to say? Who's to say they didn't? Anyway, time to edit a meme of like Maud as Mr. Krabs, and you know, the Scarecrow is Plankton in this episode.
Yeah,
I guess that makes Vernon SpongeBob.
Probably a combo of SpongeBob and Patrick, considering how stupid he is.
Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick. Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick. Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick. Anyway,
I'm sure they technically didn't steal that particular plotline, but it's just a funny coincidence.
Very much. Okay. Yeah. So the secret formula specifically makes chicken to be 6 feet tall.
Holy shit!
This is the most supernatural thing I think we've come across. It's supposed to be science, but is it really?
That makes that chicken like slightly taller than me. That's
That's
nuts.
insane. Oh, yeah. So no wonder people are trying to steal it. It would help her run her chicken stand for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the Renaissance Fair would have to get on her level with the size of the drumsticks she'd have.
Honestly, you could be like, yeah, this is like a dragon's leg or something. She'd be a
Definitely
hit at the Ren
believable if they're
Fair.
that big. Sorry.
No, she'd just be a hit at the Ren Fair.
Oh yeah, I can imagine her having like a booth with like a deep fryer the size of like a hot tub.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that feels good. That sounds good.
No,
Um,
she's dressed up as a witch and she has a giant cast iron cauldron with the oil in it.
ooh. Okay, okay. Maud, we've planned out your uh your Ren Fair booth setup.
Listen, she can franchise out to whoever she wants. She just does that for fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as they're talking about the secret formula, the guys who are on the motorcycle come back to the farm and start snooping around.
Yeah, Charlie, look, it's you and me, but in the 70s.
Honestly, honestly, let's be real. That's just us.
It really is.
You know what? I should do like one of those like redraw arts, but
Yeah.
it's those guys, but it's us.
Would you wear a leather vest with fringe, Charlie?
Who's to say I wouldn't?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something you would typically wear.
I just know that I would not have the facial hair that that man has.
Well, no, it
That was
doesn't.
a
It doesn't have to
choice.
be a 1-to-1 like Colonel Sanders type of deal that he has going on.
I also love that he's wearing my color, so that's all that matters to me. Ginger guy
I can
is,
see you
is
wearing
wearing
I
green.
can see you wearing a green turtleneck.
I used to love turtlenecks
See, I
back in
don't.
elementary school.
I don't like turtlenecks because I don't like it when things touch my neck. Like clothes touch
I
my neck.
am a very cold person,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps me when I'm so very cold.
Is Abby a warm person?
Yes, she is.
Okay, good.
She's gonna help in the winter, where right now it's kind of hell sleeping next to her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the warm to Kelly's cold, so
Aww.
it's
See,
true.
once again, it's another thing about you and Abby. You're the same person. You're both heaters.
We are.
Someday we're just gonna prove you're the same person.
We just gotta. If you put us in a room next to each other and we fuse, then yes, we're the same person.
I think the only difference is in fact the gender.
It might be.
Okay, so back to Scooby Doo. Ethan, what do we think about the name of the chicken stand?
I know it's a
Can you say it?
bit.
Can
Okay.
you say it?
No. Grandma Frickert's fried fricasses. Fricassees.
Grandma Frickert's fried fricassees.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
It sounds like
Hard
a
to
vocal
pronounce.
warm up.
Yeah, it does. Hard to pronounce, but easy to say, is what she says. And I'm like, okay.
Sure, Grandma.
She also singles out Shaggy as like, oh, I need to feed this boy. He's so skinny. Like a true grandma would.
Listen, my grandma does the exact same thing. She always sends food home with me. She always makes sure that I get enough food when I'm there.
Aw,
I love my grandma.
that's good shit.
I actually talked to my grandma this morning.
I talked to my mother today, and my grandmother was also in the room.
Oh, okay.
So we got a little bit of everybody.
There we go.
Scooby sees one of the guys in the window and is very scared. So he's gotta hide because he keeps seeing both of them in the window. They're popping up everywhere, and it's not good.
Listen. If you saw two men staring in your window on opposite sides of the room, wouldn't you be scared?
Yeah, I probably would. And this is where Scooby hides under the couch, which I think is another shenanigan for what happens in a second.
It's on the count.
Yeah. Vernon has trouble opening this doorknob. And guess who steps through the door?
Simon Shaky. Grandma Frickert's banker.
Yep. I love how she introduces him. Like, Mr. Shaky, this is my friend, Jonathan. Jonathan, this is Mr. Shaky. He's nobody's friend. Like,
listen, bankers are notoriously difficult to deal with. So,
when I was trying to figure out on the list what episode we could bring on our good buddy Phil, this was on one of my options for the
That's
capitalism
fair.
of it all.
For the capitalism of it all. But, I mean, we all know capitalism is the real villain of Scooby-Doo. So
Exactly. This is like the second time we have an evil banker, and it will not be the last time.
I mean, yeah. It's bound to happen.
It's very much bound to happen. Okay, so they sit on the couch, and Scooby's under there. It's like, oh, why is it squeaking? What's happening? No, it's Scooby crying his eyes out because you're sitting on his back.
Yeah, because you have two people sitting on top of him. That's not going to feel great.
Yep. And then, I don't know if you have it on the shenanigans, but this is where they all start arguing about the name of the chicken stand.
I found it amusing.
It's amazing. And then Velma can say it very easily.
Of course she can.
Grandma Frickert's fried fricassees. And that's why this episode is called the Frickert Fracas.
Listen, I understand alliteration is important for people to remember things. You can't just throw in a word like fricassee and expect people to remember it every single time.
True enough.
Let me see. What's the definition of a fricassee? Okay, it's a dish. Let's see. It's a stew. Excuse me. It's a stew made with pieces of meat that have been browned in butter and served in a sauce flavored with the cooking stock, usually made with chicken, veal, or rabbit. Okay. It looks good. So I might have to make it, actually. It looks pretty good. It's though I don't think you'd eat it, Charlie, because it has mushrooms in it.
Oh no, how dare they put mushrooms on something? Can't I just eat it without them?
You can. Like, I don't think they'd stop you.
You know, sometimes they can do substitutions or, like, taking things out every so often. As long as it's not super central to the dish.
Right. I mean, like, I usually ask for my burgers without tomatoes on them.
Exactly. Guess how I eat my burgers, Ethan?
Plain.
What's on them, though?
Just cheese and ketchup?
Just cheese.
No ketchup? Charlie.
It's a burger, it's cheese, it's a bun. That's all you need.
That's
all you need.
Charlie, you are missing out on so much. At least put some onions on there or something.
Nah.
Or onions something you don't like either.
Mm-hmm.
You don't?
I don't like onion.
I am not surprised by this.
So, this conversation with the banker goes very well, as you can tell. He does not want to give her the money, I guess. And she's like, fuck you, I'm gonna take out my $27 from your bank. Which, boy howdy, the 70s were
$27.
Okay, what is that with inflation?
Inflation calculator. Let's see. From the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So let's see, this is September of 1972. 72 to current, let's see, $27. Hello? Oh. There we go. Calculate. $201.89.
Okay. Inflation is fucking insane.
It is. Not a lot of money, but not bad.
Yeah. It's not $27 today.
No. I mean, she's a farmer. She's not going to have a ton of money, unfortunately, but presumably she has Vernon on her payroll. So that's going to be a drain. Unless Vernon's too dumb to know what money is.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't either.
He works for a place to sleep and food to eat. And then she uses his Sunday clothes for the freaking scarecrow.
She does. Well, Jonathan takes light of her financial situation. Is like, hey, I'm a famous comedian. I've got money. If you need some money, I can help you.
Yeah, he's like, if you need a few bucks to get started, which, okay, he does have money. Why hasn't he
Yeah.
tried to help before? But she's
I
probably
think
the
it's
type who's like, no, which she does say no to him.
Yeah, she does refuse. Like some people are just very proud and they think it's like admitting defeat if they accept money from other people,
Yeah,
which I relate.
yeah.
Um,
And I think especially with older generations, that makes sense.
mhm.
Like, so like one of my grandmothers has never been super wealthy or like even really middle. But she always is like, no, we're going out together, I'm gonna pay, obviously. Like it's just the way that it goes because of like the
Mhm.
generation.
Mhm.
I think that's how it is with Grandma Frickert.
I'd say so.
Yeah. So the gang gets out of the house, and look, it's the two guys that we said were snooping around. So Vernon goes to chase them.
He does one thing and he does it well.
Yep. And then the rest of the gang is also going to go chase them too.
This Ken's job is farm.
Is Vernon a Ken?
I think he is. He's not an Allen.
No, he's not.
That honor belongs to you, my friend.
I'm an owl. Alright, so we have Smart Gang, which now consists of Grandma Frickert, along with our usual three. They're out in the wheat fields. But they're also splitting up farther than that. Because we have, like, such
Right.
a large cast. And
Yeah,
such a
because now we've
large place.
yeah. Because we're dealing with 7 total characters right now.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with. So we gotta split them down into to pairs, basically. So it's Velma and Daphne, and then Maud takes a liking to Freddy because
Mhm.
he looks like Glenn Campbell.
I did not know who this man was, um, but turns out I know his work um, because he was in the original True Grit. He's in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and he's known for Rhinestone Cowboy, which is a song I do know.
Of course you would, Ethan.
Charlie, don't judge me. I am from the Midwest. It is just bound to happen that I know
It's not
some
country
country music.
music when you're in the Midwest. It's just music.
Jesus H. Christ, Charlie.
Am I wrong?
No. No, you're
Exactly.
not.
I'm not sure if I've heard any of his music, but I'll sure look into it.
You don't strike me as somebody who likes country music that much.
It has to be a certain kind, you know?
I agree. I'm kind of there with you. Like I don't really like modern country that much. Or at least like bro country, which is basically anything made after 9/11.
Oh my god,
At
is this
least
like
this another
is this
what?
another like 9/11 started like this other thing?
Oh, are you talking about the 9/11 to 50 Shades of Grey to the fall of Ellen
Yeah.
DeGeneres?
Yeah.
This pipeline is much shorter than that. This
Okay.
particular pipeline started with 9/11, but around that time, like after that happened, Americans were very like patriotic and very Islamophobic and racist.
Hmm.
So naturally, that manifested in a guy named Toby Keith. He had a song called Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, which kind of started this whole thing. And now you have whole artists who basically do that over and over again.
Yay. I don't like it.
Me neither. But I do like older country artists like Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, people like that. Chris Christopherson actually died recently.
No.
So, yeah. Willie Nelson's the only one, because all 4 of those guys were in a group together at one point, and now Willie Nelson's the only guy who's still alive. But Willie Nelson also smokes a lot of weed, so we'll see if that actually helps him or not.
Okay, I have heard one song featuring Glenn Campbell, and it is because it is on the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 soundtrack.
Excuse me?
Southern Nights, sung by
Yeah,
Glenn Campbell.
that's his most famous song.
There you go.
Yeah,
There's one song. Okay.
that's fine.
Let's let's get through this fucking episode, man.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm also derailing us. The Scared Gang now consists of Scooby, Shaggy, and also Jonathan Winters. I think a lot of the time in these specials, the celebrity guest often goes with Shaggy and Scooby. At least if it's a single person.
Yeah, it's the most entertaining, I think, if they do that.
Yeah, because from what I'm remembering of like Don Knotts and Don Adams and Cass Elliot and Dick Van Dyke, they all just like hang out with Shaggy and Scooby mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So they're over at the old mill. Hey, look, Ethan, the old mill has come back.
I knew when I saw it, I was like, oh no, someone's gonna get covered in flour now. Because there's a mill, which means there's flour.
Which means there's flour, of course. And Vernon is his own gang. He's just whacking at the bushes for a bunch of time. Who knows what else he's doing? Mostly whacking at bushes.
He could be whacking something else.
Ethan, how fucking dare you?
Listen, a man has his needs.
Go whack somewhere else.
That's true. I wouldn't whack in the middle of the woods either.
Okay, so back in the wheat fields, the gang is like creeping up on each other, and it's not doing them any good. So this is where we introduce our whistle.
Yep.
Which, can you whistle, Ethan? Yay! Somebody can do it.
You can't?
It's very hard. I had to teach myself how to whistle.
My dad's dad taught me how to whistle.
Yeah, it comes and it goes. Sometimes I can whistle when I'm not trying to. When I'm trying to, it does not work very well. Most
often when I do whistle, I am like doing it to myself. Like I'm in the middle of something else. Like I'll do it while I cook or while I'm driving or, just doing something else.
I asked you because I knew you were the type of person who would whistle. I'm not gonna lie.
What does that mean?
It means that I know you, Ethan.
I mean, you're right.
You are a specific brand of person.
Well, at least I'm consistent.
Alright, back at the old mill. Red-haired guy, aka me, has run in there and is hiding. And, oh my goodness. The Scared Gang is just like, they're sure doing some stuff here today because nobody wants to do anything. We have 2 bards.
I'm counting this whole business. I'm counting this whole business with the coin as a shenanigan.
As you should. As you should. This is what happens when you get 2 bards who do not want to do shit.
Yeah.
This is why the bard and the rogue go off together and do stuff. Not the bard and the bard.
No. Bard and bard is like, it's like 2 magnets with the same polarity trying to connect. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. So what does Jonathan Winters do? He pulls out a quarter and he's like, okay, we're going to flip for who goes in there and goes after the guy. But he flipped it one time and it was tails, so that means he has to go in. But it's a Canadian quarter, so he has to flip it again. And then it's heads, and Shaggy's like, wait, you gotta do it 2 out of 3 times. That doesn't count. So Shaggy flips it, and they lose the quarter. Goodbye.
How? How did he do that?
Because he's Shaggy. And he's only using 10% of his power. But he's still a god.
Correct.
Oh my god. For that part of the lore, I have thoughts about what his race would be.
Is he an Aasimar or something?
Yeah.
That tracks.
Okay, so Shaggy's like, whatever, I lost you the quarter. I'm gonna go into the old mill and find the guy. But I'm so scared. So we're gonna go around the back and find the window instead. Oh, but we gotta go back to our other gang because we're switching between sides quite a lot here. And they're getting lost because, I'm by the Scarecrow. No, I'm by the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow is moving. This is a problem, guys.
To be fair, I don't think they considered that.
They didn't consider it until they realized it was happening. That was a sentence that I said.
Yep.
But Maud is now concerned about it because it's wearing Vernon's Sunday clothes.
I'm gonna count that as a shenanigan too.
Wait, like the Scarecrow?
Uh, no, just Maud putting Vernon's Sunday clothes on the Scarecrow when he's not wearing them.
I mean, maybe. I feel like shenanigan needs to be a little bit more, but maybe. I was gonna say the like, hey, we're by the Scarecrow. No, we're by the Scarecrow. Like, cause it like it moves and there's like the little sound effect and everything.
Okay. Either way, something's getting added.
Yeah, definitely. So they realize it's a bad guy and they run after him. Meanwhile, Scared Gang, they're gonna use the wheel thing, to go up to the window to sneak in on the man who's hiding in this mill. This is Jonathan's great plan.
Listen,
How well does it work?
It doesn't, because Shaggy gets stuck and just basically keeps waterboarding himself over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, he grabbed it, and then he's like, no, if I try to jump off, I'm gonna fall. That's not gonna work. So he just keeps going around and around and around, and then that causes Vernon's attention, and Vernon tries to help
as best he can.
As best he can. He can't even get him the first time. He's like, I'll get you next time. And then he jumps out the window, and now he's like walking on the wheel thing. It's like a treadmill.
Yeah. Did Pirates of the Caribbean steal this?
Listen, these are just like very good gimmicks.
They are. Yeah.
This whole thing is a shenanigan, if you hadn't realized that already.
Yes. I am well aware.
Scooby tries grabbing Shaggy's legs to stop him, and Jonathan is just standing there like, guys, what did I get myself into? He
now, Vernon actually
look at the camera thing, basically.
Now, Vernon was successfully able to use the water wheel to get through the window.
Yeah. Yeah, at one point, like all three of them kind of fall off of it, and then Vernon grabs back onto the wheel, pulls the other two out, is like, just take them, please, and jumps in the window.
Which pushes a bag of flour from the loft onto the floor. It explodes and covers you in flour.
Yep, that's me. I'm covered in flour. I am now a ghost, according to, how Scooby-Doo works.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think one of the best things that happens in, like, these episodes is how we have to incorporate, like, these new characters into our running sequences.
Yeah.
So, because we have like, like the typical, like, oh, the gang runs in this certain way, and now we have, like, Maud Frickert, who, like, every time she's doing the running sequence, she's, like, lifting her dress so she can run faster.
Yeah.
I just like the gimmicks. It's very cute.
Also, the fucking Scarecrow runs like his legs are trying to get away from his upper body. Yes,
he does. So when we go back to the farm, everybody is running around like so crazily. Me as a ghost has run into one of the barns. You have run into one of the hay bales or
jumped into it nonetheless.
Yeah. And the Scarecrow's somewhere running around. And everybody's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So Jonathan is like, we're going to find a hiding place instead. And you see the walking sequence? You see
He's so real for that.
Jonathan Winter's walking sequence is the same as Shaggy's, like with the little like shoulder thing in his hands.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much.
But Jonathan Winters opens the door to the tool shed to find you.
But I'm a ghost! Ah! And now they're super scared. And they have to find a new hiding place. I find a new hiding place in the chicken coop. Apparently.
Yep.
Vern is still chasing me or somebody.
Yeah.
And now Scared Gang is hiding underneath the mystery machine itself.
It's a van. There's plenty of room.
I mean, yeah. Why not just climb into it? Who keeps that shit locked? It's the 70s.
That's fair. Everything was manual at that point.
So they think that Vernon is actually like one of the guys, because they can't see his face.
Yeah, they can only see his feet.
So Jonathan is like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a horse sound." Well, actually, first he's like, "I'm gonna make a sound to distract him," and Shaggy's like, "Oh, I do good impressions too," and they go into a whole argument. And
That's
Shaggy's
a
like, "Oh,
shenanigan. I'm putting that on too.
exactly. You're correct." Because eventually Jonathan's like, "Oh, I was gonna give you your big break and you blew it." Because Shaggy chickens out and is like, "I'd rather it be you." So Jonathan does the horse whinny, and Vernon goes into the stable, scaring Daphne and Velma, who were in there, and
And
waking up
then,
the fucking horse.
yeah, and Daphne and Velma go out. They find you. Apparently, your disguise is good enough that they think you're a ghost.
It's not even really a disguise. It's just flour, guys.
They
I
don't know
just
that.
I just got flour all over me. I'm sorry.
In the meantime, I get out of the haystack. You start backing away. We back into each other and run away.
Yep. I love that.
I dive in the well. You dive in a barrel. It's all good.
Apparently the barrel was also shampoo water, specifically. So I'm cleaned off.
Good for you.
And now everybody is back together, and Jonathan is like, "Oh, you know me, I don't fool around."
Sir, you are a comedian. It is your job.
Fuck you, sir. You've been fooling around this entire fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally find out what is going on with our self-insert characters here.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan and I are actually here for a rock concert. We want to rent out the farm for a rock concert. But we couldn't get close to Maud because Vernon was scaring us off all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically a human guard dog, so, like, you can't necessarily blame him, but it's fine.
Yeah. And of course, Maud asked them to get Glenn Campbell at the concert.
I mean, at that point, he was still pretty popular, I think, so it may have been hard to get a hold of him, but not like they couldn't try.
Yeah. And now the gang accuses Ethan himself as the Scarecrow, because at one point you were in the haystack and the Scarecrow dove into the haystack and then you dove back out of it.
Could it be? Could I be the perpetrator? No, I'm not.
Or maybe it's just that you were already hiding in there and then the Scarecrow dove into the haystack and scared you.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. Shaggy has this brilliant idea that maybe Vernon's secretly not stupid. And then he's been the Scarecrow the entire time.
As I was watching this, I did think that that's what was happening.
You know what?
Because, like, who doesn't know how to operate a doorknob without instructions?
Yeah.
He's definitely hamming it up, right?
No, he's a real London Tipton, but like country hick version.
Without the money.
Yeah. But like, honestly, I'm just now realizing that like this episode is a pretty good mystery, actually, with the amount of suspects we have.
Yeah, because we've got you, we've got me, we've got Vernon, we've got the banker guy. I think that's it. I think there's only 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're usually running around with Jonathan and Maud, so that's it.
Yeah.
But that's, a step up from 1 or none.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's basically what we had so far. This is kind of a 1-to-1 for the most part. All right, so the gang splits up once again to go and look for the Scarecrow. Vernon is nowhere to be found. And they're going into the cornfield this time?
Yep. But in the meantime, the Scarecrow gets out a piece of paper, grabs a shovel, and starts digging a hole next to the chicken coop.
I love how he's just digging a fucking hole. I mean, he's looking for the secret formula.
And then we get not a doors gag, but a corn gag.
That we do. Ethan. The Doors gag is coming.
I know. It's coming.
Next episode.
You're serious?
Next episode.
I can't wait.
It's my favorite one.
I can't wait.
I love it so much.
I will be very happy with that.
I feel like I've been hyping this specific episode so much, but it is like my favorite.
Hold on.
Not for any good reason.
Let me double check which one that is. Okay.
Like, I don't think it's the best mystery, but it's just a fun episode.
Mm-hmm.
With weird shit.
Very nice. Shaggy discovers how corn works.
Yeah. Shaggy thought that people wrapped corn. He still does, in fact.
Okay, Charlie, something you may not know because you did not grow up in the Midwest. A lot of the corn that is grown is not meant for human consumption.
Yeah, I think I've heard that, actually.
Yeah, it's either meant for animals or for, like, corn syrup or ethanol, which is something put in gas. So, that may not be the best corn for them to eat.
I mean, Shaggy takes it out, but we don't see him eat it, at least.
That's true.
Yeah. Shaggy and Scooby ended up going there because they didn't want to be left alone, but then they hear the gang's noises. They're doing the whistling, and they did not get the memo about the whistles. So they're scared, and they go back to the farm.
They see the Scarecrow digging the hole, see him, get scared, run away. The Scarecrow says, "Oh shit, somebody saw me." He runs away. Everybody runs back. Or at least the Smart Gang runs back while everybody else goes in opposite directions.
Yeah.
I'm putting that on the shenanigans.
It's just, oh my god, it's just so many fucking shenanigans of everybody like running around like a chicken with their head cut off right now.
Well, because it's on brand for this episode considering it's all about chickens.
Right? Literally. We have Shaggy and Scooby and the Scarecrow like on opposite sides of a building. And they're like, is anybody out in the yard? Is anybody there? And they poke their heads out, they put them back, and then they poke their heads out and they look and it's like, oh no, there's somebody there. And they run in opposite directions, but apparently they were running towards each other and they bump into each other. That's a fucking shenanigan if I've ever seen one.
Another one. We've already beaten episode 1's count.
Another one. I think every episode just keeps upping the shenanigans.
That's what it appears to be.
Yeah, I think so. Alright, so Shaggy and Scooby go into one of the barns, and the fucking hay is its own shenanigan as well, because
it looks like a game of whack-a-mole with Jonathan, Shaggy, and Scooby, and the Scarecrow.
They all keep popping their heads out of it. And then the Scarecrow's popping out, and they're all like, ah! And then we just, like, transition to another scene, I guess.
Another shenanigan, because Jonathan starts doing impressions.
Yeah, now they're in the horse stable, just the three of them, the scared gang, and Jonathan is trying to convince the Scarecrow. He's throwing his voice, he's convincing the Scarecrow that the police have the entire farm surrounded. There's like 1 million police cars, then there's the army coming in. It's insane, but he's doing some good impressions here, and I enjoy it so much.
Are we counting this as one shenanigan?
Yeah.
Because I count it as one.
I count this. Well, this is one. Shaggy even does one of the impressions at some point.
He attempts to pretend to be the president of the United States, which at this point would be Richard Nixon. At least I think it would be.
Tricky dicky.
When was Nixon out of office? Yeah, 74. So yeah, it would have been him.
Oh my goodness. And then, but yeah, Jonathan is like, oh, that's a little bit too much. I've already got like all the army guys and all the police. We're good enough. We don't need the president here. And then it just so happens that the Scarecrow is in the stable right next to them. Literally the next stall over. He's hearing all this. And then he, like, starts to stand up and he sees that they're right there. And he's just watching. And he's waiting for them to notice him. And Shaggy does. And so does Scooby. But Jonathan's just like, No, I'm doing a helicopter. I'm doing a bit. Guys. Oh, it's so beautiful.
I can see where Robin Williams got his inspiration.
So Jonathan's like, what's that word again? Zoinks. And they get the fuck out of there.
Scarecrow is very pleased with himself.
He doesn't need to do anything. He roars.
Okay,
but
then we get a second, not quite door gag.
The only thing missing is actual doors because they're just running around the fields or the farm.
Yeah, they're just running around the farm.
And Maud Frickert is in the house. She's like all the way at the top floor and she's watching everybody running around. She's like, can you guys like hold on for a second? Because I can't tell who's who. I think this is a shenanigan for the not quite doors gag.
I put it on there.
Yeah. And then somebody has run into the what's it called?
Silo?
Yeah, the silo. So people have to go check that out. We have the Smart Gang plus Jonathan now going to check that out. While Shaggy and Scooby, who were hiding in the motorcycle's sidecar.
Our motorcycle's sidecar.
True, our motorcycle sidecar. You're correct. We have a motorcycle together. Mm-hmm. Didn't you know?
It's a great time.
Truly. And they have no idea where anybody is, but they're going to find a fighting spot. You know?
And they go in the chicken coop.
I mean, it's open. Somebody left it open. Yeah. The worst crime committable. Leaving the chicken coop open.
Listen, there's coyotes.
Yeah.
The coyotes will eat your chickens. If the movie Barnyard taught me one thing, it's that coyotes will eat chickens. And going out to my grandma and grandpa's house for 24 years.
I forgot that was a movie first. I'm not going to lie.
It feels like a fever dream sometimes.
Listen, I remember just watching the TV show as a small child.
That's even more unhinged.
Right? It was so unhinged, but I remember watching the TV show more than I remember the movie actually existing.
It exists. It was frequently put on in my house. Frequently.
Well, as long as you enjoyed it.
As a kid, I did.
That's fair. All right. Scooby-Doo, Maud went back to the house so that she could get a lantern because it's dark up in the silo. And this is when, she's like, Vernon left the chicken coop open. How dare? And she closes it. Shaggy and Scooby barely even notice.
I mean, they can just push the door open. It's not like they're locked inside.
I mean, as they find out later, they are locked inside, I guess. Because they couldn't open it.
Sure.
I think there is like a latch or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like somehow when she closes it, she pulls the pin out, and I think it latches itself shut.
Okay. I didn't see that, but they may not have drawn it either.
No, it is on there. There's a latch on the door.
Okay.
It's easy to miss.
They are attempting to dig their way out by hand.
I mean, before that, they were like, we're so hungry. I want food. Let's have these chickens wake up so they can lay eggs for us.
I'm putting that as a shenanigan, for sure.
Right? So all the chickens are awake and, like, yelling at them as they're trying... And that's why they want to get the fuck out of there.
Yep.
They're like, we need to get out of here.
Because chickens are super loud and they don't want to be around it. They unearth this box that looks like it has a bunch of gray crackers inside of it.
Shaggy's like, what? I thought they made these boxes in factories. I didn't know they grew in the ground.
And then a rooster eats everything in the box.
Yep. And we find out that was, in fact, the chicken feed. That was the secret formula. Because it grows super fucking big. Meanwhile...
Big enough to ride.
The Smart Gang is up in the old mill, and I guess Jonathan went up before everybody else, because him and the Scarecrow are just, like, walking behind each other and scaring each other.
Are we counting that as a shenanigan?
Yes.
Okay.
I personally would.
I put it on there. Meanwhile, Scooby and Shaggy are being chased by the giant rooster, and we get more not quite doors gags.
Yeah, that we do. You ever try to run from a giant chicken?
No, I haven't had to
No?
run from a regular chicken. They're chickens. They're not very fast.
I love the fact that Shaggy is specifically like, oh my god, look at those drumsticks. Like he's thinking about eating this thing.
Listen, what else are you supposed to do with a chicken? Like, this is a rooster. It can't lay eggs.
That's fair. All right, so
Meanwhile, back in the silo, the scarecrow trips on a sledgehammer.
he trips on something,
And he falls into the grain, and Jonathan accidentally releases all the grain.
Yep. So that's coming out as Shaggy and Scooby and the chicken are all running around, and they run directly into the giant pile as it falls onto them. And so when everybody's like, oh my goodness, we caught the guy, he's under all the grain, should we dig him out? No, he'll come crawling, it's fine. But instead, Shaggy comes crawling out, and then the giant chicken with the Scarecrow and Scooby go
riding on its
away.
back.
Yeah, riding on its back. They go running away, and we have to have our last chase sequence of the episode. Running after a giant chicken.
Grandma Frickert grabs one of the chicken's tail feathers and starts essentially water skiing behind it. That's a shenanigan for sure. I'm putting that on there.
I love her so much.
She's great.
She deserves everything.
She does, but her fun comes to a halt when the tail feather pops out of the chicken, because that's what they do.
Yeah. I'm surprised her heels don't break.
I guess they're really sturdy heels.
Apparently. And then she has the great idea of driving our motorcycle.
I know, she stole our motorcycle with Jonathan in it, because Jonathan's still there.
He was hiding in the sidecar, and so they're going after the chicken, and they have this whole little, like, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the smart gang plus Shaggy is meanwhile in the mystery machine, and they head off the chicken at the crossing, but he's getting smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, by the end of it, the Scarecrow is actually just holding the chicken and running. And they're able to just grab him.
I'm gonna put that on the count. Should I count Grandma Frickert stealing our motorcycle as a shenanigan?
Oh, absolutely. Honestly.
Okay. What about her launching Jonathan by stopping really fast?
No, just her whole thing. Just
okay.
I count it all as one.
Everything she does on the motorcycle. Got it.
Yeah. Jonathan, you're always in such a hurry. And then he's launched in the air, and he's caught by Daphne and Velma. And he's like, girls, you just caught the best act in show business. I can't help it.
You love a good pun.
I can't help but quote this episode. It's chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So Maud is talking to the Scarecrow as if he is Vernon, and he's like, how dare you call me Vernon? As we unmask him, and oh my goodness, it's the banker. The only other person it could have been. To
be fair, Vernon was a very convincing red herring. And we were convincing red herrings, too.
Yeah. Honestly, we had a lot going on for us in this episode. He was going to steal the secrets formula and open up his own chicken stand. That didn't really work out. So it was the smartest dumb thing he ever did, because apparently the secret formula wears off. And right when we needed him, Vernon comes in with the sheriff to take the banker guy away. I've forgotten his name. Mr. Shaky.
Mm-hmm.
Because Vernon apparently just, like, wanted to call the cops instead of helping everybody out. He was too scared and too confused.
Yeah.
He's like, let me get a professional.
Mm-hmm.
And the episode ends.
Yep. That is the end.
Jonathan's like, he's a very funny dog. Keep him out of show business.
Oh, Jonathan.
Scooby has to wake up everybody and crow like a rooster. I love it.
Why the hell not?
Why not? This was an episode. I enjoy it.
I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
I'm so glad.
Listen, the shenanigans were top tier. The mystery was actually pretty good.
We had a good time today.
Yeah.
All right, Ethan, what time is it right now?
It's terror time again.
And our trivia. Jonathan Winters is actually the first celebrity to voice himself in Scooby-Doo media, seeing as like the
Nice.
past couple have been either fictional people or like characters of fictional people played by other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
It is indeed. So we've also oh yeah, Maud Frickert is a character Winters developed for his comedy album, so he played both himself and her. We went over that a little bit ago.
Yeah, Winters played a character who gets at who gets at cross purposes with another scarecrow in the Land of Oz 1960 episode of Shirley Temple's Storybook.
Didn't know Shirley Temple had one, but all right, good for her. This is the first time that Daphne whistles on screen, and the second time Velma whistles. It's an odd thing to include, I think, but oh well.
Apparently, Velma whistled in Space Kook, I guess.
I don't remember her doing that, but okay.
Sure, guys. I don't know. When aired on Cartoon Network, the scene where Shaggy, Scooby, and Winters are by the old mill is shortened. Rude.
How rude.
How dare they?
This is apparently trivia. Jonathan Winters passed away April 11th, 2013. That's just a fact that happened.
Yeah, I don't know how that relates to the episode, but it is sad, nonetheless.
Jonathan Winters is in it. I think that's really the only thing that's connective tissue there.
Yeah. This episode is actually the first time Velma uttered her popular catchphrase, Jinkies? Didn't we already have this one?
Yes, but it was not Velma who said it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. In the Batman episode, they said, okay, so yeah. Velma says Jinkies, and then in Dynamic Scooby-Doo Affair, Shaggy's the first one to say the word Jinkies.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we've got...
Our cultural references.
Shaggy does impression of Nixon. We've been over that.
For adaptations, the vengeful scarecrow that haunted old man Frickert's farm,
rude,
is referenced in the live action TV film Scooby-Doo Curse of the Lake Monster. Jonathan Winters was even cast as Old Man Frickert, filmed his scene, but it was cut as it was seemed too gratuitous. I'm sorry? What?
So you're telling me that we could have had our lady and savior Hayley Kiyoko and Jonathan Winters in the same movie when Jonathan Winters is reprising a role that was very important to him.
Like, that's the only reason I'd be okay with, like, the change for, like, Old Man Frickert. Like, just have it be Jonathan Winters himself. Like, that's great.
Put Jonathan Winters in.
But why did we cut it?
Put Jonathan Winters in drag. It's not that hard.
I've seen pictures. Apparently, he's done it.
Really?
He did drag of Maud Frickert. Apparently.
Just do that. Yeah, I can see. Yes, I'm looking at it right now. He could do it.
Who's to say at the time maybe they were like, oh, maybe this is too controversial or something. But, like, honestly, that's all I would have wanted to see.
People have been doing dragon movies since the 50s. Like, if you've seen Some Like It Hot, I think that's the first instance of that happening. I could be wrong, though.
Give me Jonathan Winters doing drag in a live-action Scooby-Doo movie.
But no.
How dare you, Cartoon Network.
He is gone. He is gone now. We will not have that chance again.
That would have made that movie so much better to me.
I've never seen it, so I have no idea what happens other than Hayley Kiyoko, and apparently Jonathan Winters was supposed to be in it, but he's not.
Oh, it makes me so mad. Yeah. That movie ends up being weirdly very, very straight. And
that's unfortunate.
I feel sorry for Hayley Kiyoko for having to do that.
Was she out at that time?
Let me see. Was she? I have no fucking clue, honestly. Was she ever... I mean, she was never closeted, per se.
No. I don't know.
I don't see anything about her coming out necessarily. Just that her music was focused on that. She came out to her parents in 6th grade, apparently.
She came out to the public in 2015.
Okay, so it was a little bit after. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sad.
Either way.
The original lesbian Velma is still her in my
True.
in my mind.
The superior lesbian Velma, I will say. I haven't even seen her, and I know that's true.
Hey, I also like, I forgot the actress's name, but the one who plays her in that movie where she is gay.
What?
The current,
Which one are you talking about?
Let me look up Velma for a second. The character, not the thing that we don't talk about.
We don't talk about Velma.
Yeah, the current voice of Velma in most Scooby-Doo media that matters is Kate Micucci.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know her from various things. She's she's in Steven Universe, so that's what matters to me.
Yeah,
but
so Kate
like
Micucci,
her, and she's
is Kate
pretty
Micucci
good.
gay? Doesn't look like she is.
I don't think she is, but I don't hate her portrayal of Velma.
No, and I think Mr. Incorporated Velma is lesbian. That's just my personal headcanon. I don't know if that was confirmed. It is?
That's also canon, yes.
I don't remember them doing that, so... Nah.
It's canon.
Okay, great. Very good.
It's the only spoiler I will give anyone is that Velma is gay, and that's all that matters.
Velma's been gay.
It's the only thing that matters to me. Okay, we need to wrap up this fucking show because we've been talking for so long.
We have. Okay, Charlie, out of 5 Scooby Snacks, what's your rankings?
Oh, out of 5 Scooby Snacks? I'm gonna give this wanna give it a 5? I might want to give it a 5.
I was gonna say 4.5, so we can go 4.75.
There you go. I very much enjoyed this episode, and I didn't realize how much I enjoyed it until I rewatched it and then talked about it with you. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'm glad that you renewed your enjoyment for it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And
Very
for
good.
whose side are we on in this episode?
Grandma Frickert.
I was gonna say I have a new option, and it is Grandma Frickert. I think this is gonna be the new gimmick for this series.
Okay.
Maud Frickert, best character.
True.
And I guess that concludes our wrap up our review of the Frickert Fracas.
Indeed it does.
Grandma Frickert's fried fricassee. See, I can say it.
Which you can't even fry that, but oh well.
Oh well. Alright, well, gang, we're gonna go split up and look for clues for our next mystery. Bye!
Boy.
You can follow this podcast's socials at Mysteries in the Machine Pod on Instagram. You can send a message to our email, mysteriesinthemachinepod@gmail.com. Be sure to give us a rating, a review, or let your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws.
You can find me, Ethan, on Instagram and Threads at ethan.t.hewlin. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram.
Dun, dun, dun. And yes, I am drinking water.
As am I.
It happens sometimes.
Why does everyone in my life but me not hydrate?
Because I'd rather dehydrate, okay?
Charlie! No! No dehydrating!